Cars in grid right now. But thanks a lot for tuning in. We just shut down the Super Lap Battle time attack action. We're moving into wheel-to-wheel racing for Gridlife Touring Cup. 15 minutes of green flag action coming this way. And Adam, we've seen kind of two very different races unfold.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to in this race?
I'm looking forward to seeing as the temperature rises, how that's going to affect. I think our fourth race is going to be the big one. That's going to change the potential finishing position just based on temperatures. But I'm just looking forward to seeing how clean they can keep it. Turn 1, and Mr. Houghton's going to have an open track right in front of him. But I'm wondering from DJ how the track is from. It's his first weekend here.
Nope.
All right, continue the story. All right, so I could definitely tell that Houghton was falling off at the end of the race. He said that he was conserving, but when I see him missing apexes and stuff, he definitely was losing tires at the end of that race. But those were significantly hotter track temps. This is going to be more similar to the race earlier this morning, and his car really didn't fall off that much at all. So real curious how it's going to play out.
So DJ, you've been driving the NC Mazda MX-5 with Derek Yarbrough. So Derek did practice yesterday. You qualified for race 1, so you did qualifying race 1 and race 2. Derek's back in the car now, so he hasn't seen the track since about 8:20 yesterday morning. Yeah. So first, how's the car kind of comparing to the field? These cars all have different build kind of approaches and theories behind them. And then how's the car been to drive?
Derek's car is super fun to drive. Where it has its strengths compared to the other cars, it's really good on entry and rolling a good amount of speed toward the apex. It leaves the corner about just as fast as the S2000s, but it loses it on the end of the straightaway. It seems like I hit like a air wall and I stop accelerating and the S2000s keep going. And Houghton built a missile, so it's doing missile things. So, yeah, it's. I think they're kind of equal. The gearing in Derek's car might not be optimal for the track, but it's certainly a lot of fun. He just got new suspension from winning Formula, and it's hooked up. There's a lot of light places on the track where you're thinking that something dramatic's going to happen, and it's just one movement of the car, and it's set and solid.
All right, so pace lap action fully underway. The field will start packing up and pairing up after they come through the stadium section here at Circuit of the Americas, and you're looking at pole sitter James Houghton, 2-time race winner. He's got a sweep going so far on the weekend. Now, Gridlife Touring Cup, it's a 4-race format. Each driver scores points per finish on the races, and then the winner kind of wins the championship at the end. It's sort of like a Gran Turismo, quick bang out a bunch of races, and then the winner has the most points at the end. So the field is starting to pair up. In second place, based on finishing results of race 2, so pretty simple. It's Todd Cayley, who finished right on the bumper of James Houghton after James had built up to almost a 7-second lead. So a big yo-yo there in race 2. Todd is definitely hoping to keep the gap a little closer. Second row, Derek Yarbrough in the silver MX-5 that we've been talking to DJ Alessandrini about, and then the blue S2000 of Dyson Pham on the inside. The red BMW E36 of Ryan Upham. Ryan's kind of feeling like he's getting in the groove of things because he didn't get a lot of rhythm in the beginning of the weekend through practice, qualifying, had some car issues and some session issues, and he's going to start right alongside Garrett Campbell, actually, moving up into 6th after that great battle, 2 times in a row, great battle with Jeremy Boyson, who is starting 7th, and then on the outside of that 4th row, starting 8th, is going to be Eric Meadows. We're getting some YouTube comments. Is that an Odyssey? Yes, that is a Honda Odyssey minivan from Honda of America Race Team right there, the big van you see. It's a stock J35 engine, 10-speed automatic transmission, fully race prepped, so we can't wait to watch that. But they're coming around for the green flag right now on the front straight, and they're packed up big time. Houghton maybe looking like he has an issue, maybe lost power on that car in the field, not quite sure what to do. Houghton dropping to the back of the field. Cayley's going to assume the front row by himself, which means Derek Yarbrough can move up. We'll see if they wave this off, because it's turned into a little bit of a mess with James Houghton's car stuck, no power at the end of the field now. And sure enough, they do throw the green, so the field takes the green flag, fans out right away. Great start from the back from one of the bends in that silver and orange RSX, but Todd Cayley takes the front row by himself. Look at Ryan Upham, red BMW E36 up the inside of Yarbrough, thinks better of it. Yarbrough and Pham side by side through turn 1, and Yarbrough is going to sweep around the outside of turn 2, tries to close the door, but Pham is still there. The blue S2000 finally tucks in. Todd Cayley has cleared the field pretty comfortably at this point, and now Ryan Upham in the red BMW, third car in your frame. He is under attack for Dyson Pham. These guys racing for a podium. Now that Houghton is kind of out of the way, I have to wonder if we may go full course caution or a local yellow just to kind of cover that dead car on the front straight. But it will not be a sweep of all 4 races now with heartbreak for James Houghton. Field continuing to sweep through the S's on the first time, and Upham still all over the back of Dyson Pham, the blue S2000 and the red BMW, and then the rest of the field. That's just a battle for the rest of the race there. Garrett Campbell and the rest. But Todd Cayley, clear air. He's going to be loving this view. Derek Yarbrough doing a great job holding down second, having not seen this track in over 24 hours. Yeah, he did a good job putting himself in a spot that you can't accidentally end up in, really. The car moving just a little bit. He may be trying to get it bumped. Kind of an odd way to lose power, having done the entire warm-up lap. Watching right now, that is the difference between first and second place. Houghton is rolling slowly. We'll cut to that if it matters, but Todd Cayley continuing to lead. And then it's Derek Yarbrough actually doing a phenomenal job hanging onto the back of Todd, considering Todd has every single session on this weekend under his belt. Derek hasn't seen the track in a while, and that car is a very new build for him, so it is his car, but it's not a very familiar car for him yet. Behind them right there, Dyson Pham, Ryan Upham streaming through. Garrett Campbell has picked up the pace now. Jeremy Boyson trying to keep on that in the Honda of America race team. Honda Manufacturing Alabama minivan with Nick Steniford stuck behind it again. He's not going to love that.
And yeah, that minivan still holding off Steniford. Steniford was having a little bit of ABS problems, potentially controller, potentially a sensor. We were going to talk about, he and I talked about unplugging, maybe checking connections, etc. The car is a street car. It does get some street miles on it. And Houghton in the safety truck just out of the way as the cars come around.
Battle for the lead is hot right now. Derek Yarbrough all the way up on the back of Todd Cayley. He's done a good job of switching that car on right away, which Todd has taken almost 7 laps the entire race. He's getting faster and faster. I talked to him after race 2 because I was curious, why is it taking so long for him to find pace? And based on the amount of heat his tires are building, he's starting with super low tire pressures. So we may actually see that car kind of get faster and faster. Derek's just got to cling to him now. But right there on your screen is the battle for third. That is Dyson Pham, blue S2000, and the red BMW of Ryan Upham. Is going to be looking to kind of rebound from his struggles on the weekend, maybe getting into a podium position. Third battle on the track is for 5th place, I should say. It is, once again, Garrett Campbell and Jeremy Boyson. Garrett in the Motegi Wheels dark green Civic. But Derek is right on top of Todd. Todd's not going to be able to ignore that MX-5 in his meters. Now, DJ, you've been driving that silver MX-5 that's second in the frame. You said the S2000s tend to be about the same off the corner, but faster on the end of the straight. So where, from your experience driving the MX-5, is Derek going to be able to work on getting by Todd?
Right after the S's through the 6-8 portion and into the braking zone, heading into the hairpin before the long back straight, I think would be the best spot to go grab him. Guys, watching this right now, I am a nervous wreck watching Derek. I was not this nervous driving the car. This is out of control for me.
Yeah, having a teammate to watch after you're done is tough stuff. Right there, that's the battle for 5th, Garrett Campbell and Jeremy Boyson, and Eric Meadows has done a really good job of kind of clinging to these guys in both races. He's going to be looking to improve that position after a strong 5th place finish in yesterday's first race. And we're back to full mics.
Sorry about the mics now.
Adam's back.
Whoa. Hi. How's my makeup look, Tom, by the way?
It looks great.
Cuban called me out there. Gonna do it for the gram.
Oh, Steniford inside the minivan, shuts the door hard though, not going to get it done. That is Carl Hurdle driving the minivan. We often just call it the Hot Rodyssey or the HMA car, but Carl Hurdle does a great job driving that car. Again, it's on racing slicks. It's very well done. Yeah. Oh, we lost a mic. Sorry about that, guys, but we're still keeping an eye on the battle of the HMA minivan. That's Nick Steniford in the S2000, Carl Hurdle in the minivan on the right side of the track. He's going to make him go the long way around. Steniford is absolutely tired of dealing with being stuck behind this minivan, but he just can't figure out a way to get around as he locks up just a little bit more. Houghton now rejoining the race, so this will be interesting. He's a couple laps down, but he can maybe use this as an experiment. This is a brand new car. He can push hard the entire time potentially and see what that car does as far as a long run. Back at the front, Cod Cayley is actually continuing to get faster. He extended his lead over Derek Yarbrough just a little bit. We'll cut to that if the battle heats up, but this battle between Steniford and Hurdle is still raging on. Hurdle runs a little bit wide through turn 6 into turn 7. That might give Steniford an opportunity to come back to it. Does he look up the inside? No, he keeps his opportunity. Stays patient. Cutting up to the next battle on track, Eric Meadows has actually moved up a spot, gotten by Gareth Campbell, as has Jeremy Boyson. So this is the battle for, I believe, 5th on track. Yes, this is the battle for 5th on track. So that's actually Jeremy Boyson up into 5th, Eric Meadows up into 6th, and Gareth Campbell down to 7th. Those first 3 cars in frame, and then James Houghton hopefully is respectful that he's not really in this race, kind of lets these guys have their race for position. Another good look at a guy who's had an up and down weekend. That's Matt Murphy. These guys having a great battle. It is for 11th on track, but 10th on track. Brian DeFries and Matt Murphy diving up the inside.
Yeah,
Adam, you there?
I think I have a mic again. A new cable.
You do?
Ben DeFries, that's the rally car. The RSX in the back there, and Matt has struggled with alternating power issues throughout the weekend. But good to see them on track. The battle back there is still tight. Is that Meadows and Boyson right there? Very close.
Meadows and Boyson, yeah.
Boyson has had nothing but good battles the entire weekend.
And this is actually really cool for Meadows. He's a fairly new racer, so he's getting an opportunity to kind of work on that racecraft in the MX-5. Brand new build and fairly new to wheel-to-wheel racing. You'll see the red X on the back of his car, which lets all the other drivers know that he's less experienced, a little new to this.
Meadows actually came up through a lot of Gridlife HPDE.
Yeah.
Most of our events do have HPDE and Time Attack as well. Good to see him making a jump up to wheel-to-wheel and trying a new form of this automotive addiction.
Quick note at the front, Cayley continuing to spread his lead on Derek Yarbrough. The fastest lap goes to Cayley, and the gap is now 3.2 seconds. Just keeping you updated on that. But James Houghton actually looking like he's going to start working his way through these guys to maybe get into some clear air and be able to push that new TSX a little harder. He's done a good job of being respectful to not interrupt these guys' races as well.
And if you're looking for season points, which Houghton is looking to be in the hunt for the season championship, every race, attending every race counts. There is points throughout the field, and it looks like he might be working his way up through it. 2:31.489, the fastest time of this event on track right now. 2:33.135, the fastest for our buddy Derek. 3.217 second spread between P1 and P2 last time across the start-finish line.
So we mentioned a number of cars have had issues over the weekend, and DJ, you've actually driven this track for the first time this weekend, but you've driven it a number of times in simulators and things to practice up. And you said you were surprised at some of the undulations and some of the elevation. Do you think that has anything to do with some of the mechanical problems we've been seeing?
The curbs are a lot rougher than the sim would lead you to believe, because the car's pretty hooked up when you run over the curbing in iRacing particularly. But in real life, the inside edge of the curbing, just outside of the curbing where it's not on the asphalt, actually hooks the car kind of violently. It kind of pitches and throws the car. So I could see how people are having hub failures out there. And there's a lot of dips and drops in the track that aren't actually there visibly. You just feel the car get light as you fly into them. For example, like flying into the S's, there's a dip right at the apex of the first left-hander that isn't there in the sim. Well, I'm sure it's there, but you just don't feel it or notice it. So, getting used to those things where it's different than the sim is definitely a challenge.
Eric Meadows continuing to try to figure out a way around Jeremy Boyson, and I have to imagine Boyson has the advantage in a straight line. Meadows has the advantage in the corners, just based on the build approach of these cars. Jeremy Boyson's car, an ex-Speed World Challenge Pro Racing car that he's now out here club racing with Gridlife Touring Cup. Awesome to see that.
I believe that's actually a smaller engine, though. It's K20, if I remember correctly, and built mildly, but not a wild engine. The engine in Meadows' car is a 2.5, I believe, Duratec with some drop-in cams. Probably has a better torque curve and gear ratios. It's kind of depends on which transmission Boyson has in that car. There's so many options with the front-wheel drive K-Series.
The gap at the front is now 6 seconds, but this is a look at the red BMW that just left your frame. That was Ryan Upham. A little bit of damage on the HMA minivan for Carl Hurdle, and he was having that really, really close battle with Nick Steniford. They had some super tight stuff, so hopefully he didn't get assistance with removing that bumper, but he's going to do the smart thing and pit in to either remove the bumper and continue the race or just park it for the day. This is only a 15-minute race, and we're probably 10 minutes in, so that not a lot of time to get back out there and really do anything with it.
Race director Renee Hines up in race control. She'll have a better eye on all of this than we do. We are live stream view, but she has the eye in the sky view that Circuit of the Americas has. It's an untold amount of cameras around this place.
If you ever get a chance to come to COTA and look in race control, it's incredible. It's a Formula One track, so they set it up as such, and you can see every inch. You're not getting away with anything in this facility. But DJ, you touched on sim racing. You're kind of known, I would say, for your sim racing, but you picked up both go-karting at a local track and sim racing to get better at real life after you found autocross and wanted to get better in cars. So now that you've kind of got closing in on a season of wheel-to-wheel racing in reality under your belt, how does it compare to the sim racing on the track?
So the racing is exactly the same. The way the cars act, there's some damage. There's some damage on that S2000. Somehow they both have damage on the rear of their car, so that's interesting. But building the bridge in between real life racing and sim racing, the racing is very, very similar. The way you position your car, the way you make time on track, all that is very similar. There's like subtle nuances to how the cars drive that could be improved upon, but they're fake cars, but the racing is very, very real. And it's been a huge tool to develop my racecraft and just be comfortable behind the wheel.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I kind of started my driving career in sims as well, and all the racing, even down to Mario Kart, there's a level of racecraft you learn, just the way cars interact. Whoa, big sideways for Jeremy Boyson. Eric Meadows gives him space, so Boyson saves it. That's the beautiful thing about front-wheel drive. You put your foot down, and it just pulls itself right out. But he is feeling the pressure big time from Eric Meadows, who's also wiggling that MX-5 off of turn 20 into the front straight. Keep an eye out for that white flag as we're into lap number 6 of the event.
Pretty close, probably the last one before we see that white. And we're doing a new fastest lap of the race, 2:30.561 for Mr. Houghton. That car, whatever was wrong, it must have cycled, and the car seems to be mechanically fine. Boyson and Meadows still the best battle on track right now. We're talking 1.5 car lengths tops. And the cars make speed in slightly different ways, but they're racing very, very closely together. I'm a little jealous. That seems like a good way to spend a Sunday.
This is so cool. Now we are getting Dyson Pham dropping down our timing order. We can't find that blue S2000 on track currently, so this would actually make that the battle for 4th. And we're seeing continuing kind of mistakes. He looks like a little behind the car for Jeremy Boyson there in the front RSX. There's Dyson Pham, so it may just be a timing issue. So we won't speculate whether or not that's actually for 4th place, but either way, I think Dyson Pham is actually fine. But this battle, either way, rages on between Boyson and Meadows. James Houghton continuing to run fast laps. He just reset the new fast laps, so this is definitely him using this opportunity of the failed race start to just push that car hard for as much time as possible and see what it can do.
Looks like Dyson Pham is okay in a straight line as he battles Houghton into the braking zone here. Houghton has the inside line and the advantage for that corner, though, definitely.
Yeah, it can get awkward down there. That's a really, really long back straight and a really, really deep braking zone. And the corner looks like a 90-degree corner, but it's actually more like 110 degrees, so you got to turn more than you think.
Very, very tight.
Houghton just putting distance on people at this point. He's pushing that car hard.
You can see the strengths of that blue S2000 versus Houghton, though. Gets car length, two car lengths back in the braking zone.
Up at the front, there's race control. We just referenced it. So our race director, Renee Hines, is looking at all of those screens. Like I said, every inch of this facility covered by race control cameras. And what's interesting is that comes back to like race 1 yesterday when James Houghton exceeded track limits. Race director can see that immediately and make a choice on what we need to do about it, which is pretty much a unique opportunity at this track and maybe 1 or 2 others in the country. Which is
America,
cool.
Maybe a similar situation, but not many. This is very world class. Obviously, one of the top tracks in the world. Privileged to run our series here. This is it's very, very cool to have this technology.
Derek Yarbrough holding down a solid second place. He's about 10 seconds now back to Todd Cayley, so Todd Cayley in clear air. But this battle for about 5th, Jeremy Boyson, Eric Meadows continuing to rage on. Meadows has dropped back just a little bit, so Boyson was able to put his head down.
Just on the back of the RSX, though. So close. We'll say bye to our buddy DJ here. He has to take over Mr. Yarbrough's job. Derek Yarbrough on the GLTC Rules Committee, races many of the races, not every single one, but we do have a small staff, and we want to thank them for being out here. Checker flag out now. Looks like it was Todd Cayley's race to lose, and he did not. It's a great performance and a good solid run. Fastest lap of his race, a 2:31.361. Derek Yarbrough 2:33.135, and fastest of the session, 2:30.216 for the recovered James Houghton.
So what that means on the weekend, Todd Cayley, after 2 second-place finishes, he comes home with a win. That's going to assume him the lead on the championship of the weekend with points. That was kind of disaster for James Houghton. So Todd Cayley actually continues to hold the fast lap from race number 2 on the weekend and has now assumed the championship lead. The team car of Derek Yarbrough and DJ Alessandrini, who's just left us to go work tech, he's taken off to up to second place. We'll have to see what that does to points for James Houghton, but that's going to mean that he's going to be driving basically from the back of the field for race 4. Now, race 4, we will basically invert the top up to 8 cars based on a random draw. So these drivers don't know how many cars we're going to invert at the front of the field, and we'll talk about that a little bit more for race 4 as the rest of the field continues to take the checkered flag. But it's Jeremy Boyson and Eric Meadows kind of spread out at this point a little
Boyson
bit.
did take that battle overall, and we're seeing slight body damage on the. It looks like we have 2 bumper skins that need to be investigated.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what the contact was there, but
I'm sure race control saw it.
She knows better than we do. She probably saw the frown and disappointment on the faces of one of the drivers, whoever's fault it was. Although the ABS lockup issues, we could have a mechanical fault with Mr. Steniford there. So overall, a good, clean race, and that is what we like to see, especially so far from home. I want to say thanks to all the drivers and to SLB for having us on.
So format-wise, looking at race 4, we kind of touched on the way the race starts. One of my favorite things about Gridlife Touring Cup is every race assumes a different life, because one is based on qualifying, one is based on the previous results, one is based on an inversion. There's different things going on. So race 4 will be inverting between 3 and 8 cars. After this race, we'll go pull out of a hat and figure out how many, and that means anybody from Dyson Pham all the way down to Nick Steniford could be flipped up to the pole position. Someone like Todd Cayley, who just won that race, could start far back as 8th. Yep. With that failed start, James Houghton now is coming from 12th or 13th place.
Yeah, so he's probably in a little bit of a safe place, but he does have to start in the back. He's not going to be sent to the back.
Right.
That's just where he gets. He's not going to be affected by the inversion. Unfortunately, it doesn't help his start tomorrow or today.
And what we've seen kind of out of Houghton, who was pretty dominant up to this point in the weekend, is he comes out strong, the car's fast with power and with cold tires, and then the car kind of falls off through the race. He doesn't have the chance to wait anymore. He's coming from the very back of the field. He's got to turn it on now, race through the field.
But he's going to have the problem of another 15 or so degrees. This will be the warmest race, projected, I believe, 78 degrees. So this will definitely be the warmest race, and totally different tire conditions for him.
And 90% humidity.
Yes, very, very humid conditions here. This is more of a Hoosier territory, so tire choice might be more of the, I mean, we're seeing lap times that can race together. These cars make speed in different ways, but tire choice might be the deciding factor in this next race. And Houghton's got to go through a lot of cars on that first start.
So consistency coming into the final race of Gridlife Touring Cup.
Yeah.
Todd Cayley now on the upper hand. He's just got to have a good, clean race, but racecraft coming in more now than ever before. And I think these guys have kind of been running on their pace. Now they're going to be completely upended and have to show their racecraft. If you've thought that the races have kind of mellowed out from race 1 to race 2 to race 3, race 4 is about to go through the roof. I'm telling you.
I actually thought the last lap of race 2, that was about my
That was
favorite.
good. Yeah, it was really good. So you're not going to want to miss that. That's at 2:20 p.m. Central Time. So make sure you tune back into the Super Lap Battle live stream. We also want to thank Valvoline, the official partner of Gridlife Touring Cup, Motegi Wheels, the official wheel of Gridlife Touring Cup, and FCP Euro, a presenting partner of Gridlife Touring Cup. Adam Jabay is a founder of the series. My name is Tom O'Gorman. Thanks again for tuning in.
Thanks, everybody.
Come catch the race number 4 at 2:20 p.m.
See you in a little while.